Hi everyone, I'm Bill Griggs from Podcast by Friday, a show where we help you create your minimum viable podcast by taking bold action to defeat procrastination and get your voice heard. And one of the tasks that people need to do with a new podcast, and this is directed at you new podcasters, is you need to be able to get ratings and reviews for your show, particularly if your show is hosted on iTunes. Now, it's not an easy task to find out how to do that. And so I'm going to remove that confusion, and I'm going to show you step by step how to do that. So our podcast is called Podcast by Friday. And the easiest way for you to find our podcast would be to go to Google and to search for it on iTunes. So you can start with the iTunes. And you could type in Podcast by Friday and my name, Bill Griggs. And that will give you these search results. Now, if you look on this page, the first entry is for Podcast by Friday by Bill Griggs and Kingsley Grant on iTunes. And that's the one that you would want to click on. That would take you to a iTunes web browser window, which would show our podcast. Okay. Now, you can't do a rating and review from this page. In order to do a rating and review, you have to open up iTunes. And they provide this button right here that says View in iTunes. And if you click that button, it will take you to your iTunes. And it'll take you directly to this page in the iTunes store for our podcast, Podcast by Friday. Now, the first thing you could do that would really help us out, and it's something that you would like your listeners to do, is to hit the subscribe button. And that means that anytime a new episode would come out, they would receive that automatically and a notification when that came out. So they could go and click the subscribe button. It's not absolutely necessary, but it does help. Okay. Also, there are 3 tabs here at the top of each iTunes page. Okay. The details page gives you the listing of all the episodes that are out there, and you can play them by clicking one of these play buttons over the episode number. Okay, but for rating and review, we want to click the second tab, which says Rating and Review. And that second tab will take you to the ratings and review portion, and here's where you can do it. Now, you can click the rating first off, or you could just click the Write a Review button. And that will also give you, when you click it, a place to write your review and also a place to rate it. So that's probably the simplest thing to do. So you want to give it a title. That explains what you think about the episode. And then you want to write an honest review. Okay. Now, once you've completed it, and you don't write exactly what I wrote. This is just an example here. You can write, gee, we really liked the show, or I wish you would speak louder into the microphone, or whatever your thought is about our podcast. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Whatever that comment is, write it down. And then go ahead and click 5-star review, 4-star review, whichever review that you truly feel honestly represents this podcast and whether you've gained anything from it. We'd prefer 5-star reviews, but you're not obligated. Once you've done your review and you've hit the rating stars, you can hit submit, and that's it. You've just given a rating and review. Now, one other thing though, you have to be signed in to your iTunes account, which in most cases will happen automatically when you open up iTunes. But in case it's not, you could log in to your iTunes account into your library here. So that's it. That's how you leave a ratings and review. I hope you found this helpful, and that you will leave us a rating and review as we teach you how to launch your podcast rapidly. We did ours in under a week, and we think that you can do the same thing because we'll show you how. So if you like this video, please leave a comment below on YouTube for us, or if you feel that you would like to leave us a rating and review in iTunes, please follow this process and go ahead and leave us a rating. So a quick recap of your action steps for this episode. Step 1, you're going to Google our podcast, Podcast by Friday, Bill Griggs. Step 2, you're going to view it in iTunes by selecting the View in iTunes button. Step 3, you're going to click the Ratings and Review tab. Step 4, you're going to write a rating and leave a review. 5 stars is best. Step 5, you're going to submit by clicking the Submit button. And step 6 is optional. You can create a video just like this for your podcast. If you'd like to create a video like this for your podcast, I will show you the tools that we use to do it in the resource page for this episode. There will be a link also in the YouTube video on how to get there. I'm Bill Griggs for Podcast by Friday, and you can see more information about our show at podcastbyfriday.com.